Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Creatio's webinar. Today is a very special occasion because we are joined by a highly valued partner for this webinar, Tata Consultancy Services. Today we're going to be discussing Creatio and Tata's ideas about how the rise of low-code technology has transformed in banking, financial services, and insurance. Please leave your questions in the chat section, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar if we do have time today. My name is Creatio, and I look forward to joining you and again our highly valued partner, Tata Consultancy Services, as we discuss this topic in greater detail. Following the discussion, we will be providing all registered participants with a recording of the webinar to answer any of the unanswered questions that you have offline. I'm joined today by Naresh Mehta, the Head of Digital Transformation, Banking, Financial Services, and Insurance at Tata Consultancy Services.
All right. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone across the globe joining from everywhere. I'm Naresh Mehta. I head digital transformation for banking, financial services, and insurance for the US East customers as part of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. Today, I'm going to talk specifically on the subject of how we are seeing a rise of low-code, no-code platforms in the banking, financial services, and insurance segment. We'll talk about some use cases, some key trends, and how enterprises are adopting the low-code, no-code platforms amidst their current deep legacies and technology ecosystem. If you look at the key aspects of what I'm going to share today with the larger audience here is peek into some of the trends that we are seeing in the market, right? What are some of the headwinds in terms of adoption of low-code, no-code platforms saying? Specific to BFSI, which is banking, financial services, and insurance, what are the key use cases that we are seeing, right? Is it more of customer-facing apps or internal stakeholders where customers are adopting today for low-code, no-code platforms? And finally, in terms of adoption journeys, we'll take a look at, what is a stepwise process to basically reach there, right? Do we go full steam or do we take baby steps in terms of, enterprises adopting low-code, no-code platforms? So with that viewpoint, I'll jump into the first section, which is a peek into the market trends. Now, this is again from the market and the sources have been listed. But if you take a look at how this entire market has been picking the momentum, it's growing at the rate of 28% CAGR roughly, right? But if you look at the geographical spread, North America and within North America, BFSI has been one of the major contributors to the momentum and the adoption of low-code, no-code platforms today. Right? Needless to mention, right, it has been complemented by a variety of different positive trends that we are seeing. And those trends come from the fact that, of course, there is a lot of speed to market aspects in terms of gaining that 30 to 60% effort gain in your developmental effort. But more importantly, while the speed to market is there, it is the citizen development. It is the ability to get the return on investment much faster. One of the trends that you see here on the slide talks about how more than 70% of the low-code users learn the technology in less than 1 month. And that speaks volume about the whole adoption and the whole new community of people who can build the apps is going to come by, right? Now, typically, when you talk about the low-code, no-code space, you always have a viewpoint on, how the conventional development would happen versus how the development would happen on a low-code, no-code platform. Of course, it is wizard-based. You have a lot of adapters. You have a one-click touch publishing and stuff like that. But if you categorize the big benefits of a low-code, no-code platform, you can categorize this. One is the speed to market, which we spoke about, right? You're talking about the design cycle time reduction. You're talking about the testing cycle time reduction, one-touch deployment, reduced effort in the integration piece that you have to do with your foundational platforms, right? That is, of course, a big benefit that you're getting. But bigger than that is your benefit of speed to value, which is your ability to reach the market faster, but also establish the product market fit, which we call it as a PMF, much faster than what you used to do with a conventional development. And that benefit bubble, which you're seeing in the dark blue color here on the slide, is by and large the biggest benefit of how you quantify that as a speed to value, right? You're talking about on an average, considering all the complexities of different applications, an average ROI of roughly about 250%, and a payback time of 7 months. And that's, for a complex app, looks amazing, right? In terms of what businesses can do with their citizen developers and push into production in today's world where agility is the key. Every single company is trying to push their product into the market at that speed. And that's why it becomes so important. Up next, we are going to see specific view and a deep dive into what are the use cases that we are seeing in a banking, financial services, and insurance space. Of course, there are multiple attributes that go into selection of the right use case for a low-code, no-code platform. But if I have to really give you a snapshot of what we are seeing in terms of good headwinds or early use cases, categorical, I can clearly name that all these CX enabling functions. When I say CX, the customer enabling features and personas, whether it is an advisors, agents, you talk about the internal stakeholders, who are basically the operations people who are helping the end consumers, not the direct consumer facing applications. I feel the market is still picking up in putting the direct consumer facing applications and being built on low code, no code. I think it's a more cautious approach that customers are taking. But what we truly believe is a lot of customer enabling functions. You talk about use cases on customer onboarding, mortgage application workflows, sponsor onboarding in a group retirement ecosystem, agent experience, your merchant portals in a payment processing companies. All these are the hot favorite in terms of use cases or applications that are being built in the banking financial services ecosystem in a low code, no code space, right? Of course, the key measures in picking up each one of these use cases are, of course, we spoke about speed to market and speed to value, but increased agility in pushing the features to talk about the developer productivity, the reduced cost of change are also a big factors in deciding specific applications and use cases to be moved to low code, no code. Now, of course, we have done a complete thorough analysis of each and every line of business in the banking, financial services, and insurance ecospace, whether it is capital markets, wealth management, banking, property and casualty, or the enterprise use cases. What we see is there are different levels of adoption and relevance of a particular use case being considered for development in a low code, no code platform, right? I'll give you a little bit peek and then we'll see other line of businesses as well. So what you see here is, of a capital market perspective, you have customer onboarding, you have agent advisor onboarding, you have a unified customer view, your operations workbench as some of the low hanging fruits, use cases that we are seeing customers pick up their first choice in considering they to be built by a low code, no code platform. The obvious reasons are, one is reduced complexities. Number two is seamless integrations, not many legacy integrations. They don't have to be with tightly coupled architectural systems. That are the easy and hot favorites of customers who are picking up on this space. That said, it's not to say that we cannot pick up the use cases which are integrated with legacy systems to be considered with a low code, no code. Absolutely not. They are the probable candidates, but they may not be the first choice in people who are adopting this entire journey of low code, no code platform, right? And there are some use cases like the marketing applications, the to talk about the product configurators, the retirement experience from a participant perspective. They are the second favorites. And of course, there are aspects like for portfolio management, which is really a big thing. And how will we actually use low code, no code platforms to build a portfolio management application? That is still far off, but I think we are seeing discussions that are going on in some subjects here and there in minor use cases. Now, if you take this construct and apply it for all the different line of businesses, we have done a thorough analysis across all the different line of businesses, right? And you have wealth life and annuities, you have your banking, you have your property and casualty insurance, and enterprises. And each one of them come from our experience that we have worked with partners, experience that we have worked with customers, and collectively have built this research, right? Now, I will talk about the enterprise adoption journey in terms of, okay, I have a good market view. Market is having a momentum. I have a good view into what are the key use cases that by the different line of businesses, customers are adopting. But how do I make it real for my organization? If I am an enterprise CIO, if I am looking, or a CTO who is basically looking at bringing in these platforms into the ecosystem, what should be my starting step, right? And the answer to that starting step is basically twofold, right? One, you look at your application ecosystem. You look at aspects of how can you look at all the different types of applications you have, what is the complexity, what architectural foundations your applications are built on. Talk about your tech stack and the longevity or the end of life of the tech stack supporting those applications. You take a view on that, do a complete application assessment at one end. Once you do that, you'll basically easily be able to prioritize what are your top applications that has the highest business impact, highest ROI, but is having a highest technology obsolescence as well, or technology debt as well. Now, based on that metrics, you'll be able to prioritize, and that we call it as an application assessment. Once you have that application assessment, the next step is to go into a platform assessment. And in the platform assessment is where you establish a platform fit given your application ecosystem. You might have about 250 different applications or 1,000 applications in your technology landscape. Now, once you have that and you do the application assessment exercise, understanding the complexity and the business impact and the ROI with the technology obsolescence, you apply different attributes of platform comparisons with all the different platform players in the market today. We have seen enterprises today look at more than one platforms as their platforms of choice on low code, no code. Some of them have also gone to keeping 3 platforms, right? So it's all about how you look at different platforms and what is a fit for the given specific type of use cases and applications that you have. So application assessment and platform fitment exercise is the starting step of how you see enterprises adopting the value chain. Now, let me take a little bit of deep dive on this. When you talk about application assessment, right, it's not just reviewing the complexities, but the complexity has to be reviewed with different parameters. You talk about the persona who's using the application, the complexity, the transaction volumes. You talk about the architectural foundations, talk about the operational expenses or the capital expenditure that is there as part of this current application. Security aspects, very important, specifically in the BFSI segment, right? You talk about the risk associated with it, right? All these pieces go into the assessment. And then finally, you decide as to what should be your right strategy for your application, retire, retain, rehost. But for each one of them, it's important to consider the aspects of what it would be in future versus what it is in today when it is eventually deployed in a low code, no code platform. Now, a sample assessment report of what a representative app evaluation could look like, right? And in terms of this, we definitely have an assessment framework exercise, which is a tool-based assessment framework where we go through all these questionnaires. But what it eventually comes up is a module complexity score, weighted average, an application user's graded score, and the attributes of an application. Now, a combination of these 3 scores for a given set of applications establishes the probable candidature whether an application is a right fit from your existing set to be considered for development in a low code, no code platform or not, right? In this particular case, you are seeing that the assessment outcome here is it is an average candidature. It doesn't have a high potential candidature, but it has an average candidature. And the reason is the module complexity as well as the application usage, right? That pulls the entire score to being an average candidate. Right? And if you continue doing this for a set of applications and then put that against your business impact as well as your technology obsolescence or an end of life, you would get those peak set of applications that you should go in and be considered as the first choice of applications that you should consider building on low code, no code platform. Now, in this particular case, you see application 1, 2, 3, 4 are in a quadrant where the obsolescence is there, the business impact is the higher, right? So 371, that is the graded score of one of the applications, application 4. That, if you ask me, is a good choice. 408, probably a good choice considering the technology obsolescence, but does it have the highest business impact? Probably no. So this will give you a good means of assessing what application should I consider moving first with a low code, no code platform, or consider enhancing using a low code, no code platform, right? So that's the application assessment part. Now, once you have that, of course, you get into the whole platform fitment part. And this, I believe, is a parallel exercise. And the reason why I say is a parallel exercise is because at one end, you have this entire application assessment being done, where there is different architectural technology considerations, right? But at the other end, you also need to understand other aspects of, what is the vendor viability, what is the enterprise level support, what is the developer user friendliness. You talk about, the commercial viability of a particular platform, the support and the training that they provide, and the strategic alignment of an organization itself, given what they have in their technology ecosystem, right? Now, you consider all these different aspects to basically evaluate what is the right platform fitment, right? And there are different platforms today, yeah, who are basically operate in different space, in different zones. Some of them are full stack, some of them operate in a specific segment, niche area, like a sales and marketing, like operations and stuff like that, right? So it is important for us to understand that if you look at the whole application ecosystem and the larger enterprise platform ecosystem, there are multiple choices to choose from. And how do you basically go about picking one of the platforms is what, this platform fitment considerations attribute charter which you're seeing is all about, right? Now, when you are actually comparing different platforms, we spoke about parameters, which is commercial viability, strategic alignment with a particular vendor and stuff like that. But if you really look at the platform level technology features, from an application development perspective, you will have different platforms giving you a different view. It's important for one organization or an enterprise to create a view like what you are seeing, right? In terms of whether it from a developmental perspective, user friendliness, ability to quickly integrate, having a marketplace like feature for subscription, the security aspects we spoke about, the CI/CD deployment pieces, integration of with existing pipelines. Of course, each and every platform provide their own DevOps integration, but if there's an existing setup with a particular customers, how do you go about integrating with that foundational setup? All those parameters also become equally important in deciding what is the right platform. Now, for the sake of being neutral here, we have taken down all the names, but at the back end, if you honestly ask me, this representative comparison is by different platforms, and this can differ by organizations, by their existing investments on technology, by their book of work that they have in terms of what they want to build in future, and by their strategic alignment. But it's important to do this exercise, and this is what we are seeing organizations do and enterprises adopt, right? Now, what you're seeing here is a representative example of one of those platform assessment, right? And in this particular case, you are seeing not all the 14 different parameters were considered, but the three critical parameters that were considered to evaluate a given platform was one, business alignment. And in this particular case, in the business alignment, the critical features were the application needs to have a role-based access control, and it needs to have a strong workflow management feature. And amongst the four platforms that we considered, there were different yardsticks or baselines in terms of how we compared them, right? You can compare a platform in terms of what are the out of the box components that a platform provides versus what configuration flexibility a platform provides with some of the product platforms in the market, right? In some cases, you will find that the flexibility of a platform is limited to being self-sufficient, but they have an alternate external solution that can be leveraged on top of a particular platform that you can hook up with an adapter, right? So all those different parameters that you're seeing, that becomes your yardstick in comparing the different platforms. And then it becomes so much more easier for enterprises to do this exercise for every single big application set that they have, and then come to a judgment saying, okay, based on my analysis of 250 different apps, let's say a number, and within those 250 apps, there were like 10 different patterns. And for each of these patterns, if you do this exercise, it becomes so much easier, and logically you will establish a rationale to basically select a platform which you can then adopt and go about, right? That is the business alignment part. But then there's an architectural fit also, which is in this particular case, we have picked up your integration with databases, your non-functional requirement management, and from a technology perspective, batch processing is a very, very important feature, right? So our ability to look at both the application assessment at one side and do a platform fitment on the other side, and collectively merge that output and arrive at a decision, is where we are seeing enterprises start their low code, no code journey, right? And there are a number of examples that I can quote about, where we are seeing this traction, where the momentum is being picked up, and we are seeing good results, right? I'll quote an example for a large US based life and annuity provider. We actually built their entire agent production book roll, which is their agent opportunity management system, in a low code, no code platform in less than 2 months. And that speaks volumes about what capabilities a low code, no code platform can bring in. And that was done with 60% citizen development, with developers who didn't have coding experience. They were business people, they were people who understand the domain, but they didn't have any technology coding experience. And that is a humongous benefit in terms of how you see the space evolving, and how you see low code, no code platforms could disrupt the way development lifecycle today progresses, right? Another example with an impact of COVID times I would like to quote here. This is for a long-term care provider and insurer, and in a specific case of a COVID scenario where the field engineers or the nurses could not go and attend the senior citizens in their homes, it becomes very important that they still stay connected with their patients by either making an in-person visit. But because of COVID, when they were not able to make that in-person visit, they enabled digital native capabilities for these nurses as well as the patients, long-term care patients, so that the long-term care insured as well as the nurses could have a connection. They can interact on a day-to-day basis. They can understand and track some of the vitals. And all this had to be done to address the COVID situation, and it was done in less than 3 months. So you talk about the agility that it brings, amazing, right? And the payback time and the ROI, it is humongous. So just giving you a different flavor of each one of these, and that's how I conclude my presentation for today.
Thank you, Nareesh, for such an interesting and insightful presentation today. I'd like to add a few words about Creatio while we have time with our audience right now. Creatio is a globally operating organization. We have 5 offices worldwide. We have over 650 employees and 700 partners, and we continue expanding this robust channel network. This enables us to deliver our solution in 110 countries around the globe. We are also highly recognized by key industry analysts, such as analysts from Gartner and Forrester. And I look forward to telling you a bit more about that analyst recognition today. I'd like to add a few words about Creatio while we have time with our audience right now. Creatio is a globally operating organization. We have 5 offices worldwide. We have over 650 employees and 700 partners, and we continue expanding this robust channel network. This enables us to deliver our solution in 110 countries around the globe. We are also highly recognized by key industry analysts, such as analysts from Gartner and Forrester. And I look forward to telling you a bit more about that analyst recognition today. We are recognized in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants, 2 of which we are recognized as a leader in: the Magic Quadrant for Salesforce Automation and the Magic Quadrant for CRM Lead Management. We're also included in the Magic Quadrant for Enterprise Low-Code Platforms and the Magic Quadrant for Intelligent Business Process Management Suites, which speak to our low-code capabilities. Additionally, we are included in the Magic Quadrant for CRM Customer Engagement Centers. And we look forward to growing this analyst recognition with Gartner in the future. Similarly, we are also recognized by Forrester in 7 Forrester waves, of which we are a strong performer in. We have 2 of these waves which really emphasize our low-code and business process management tools, and 5 that speak to our CRM capabilities. Look forward to growing this analyst recognition with Forrester in the forthcoming year as well. And just to quickly emphasize Creatio's vision, because it's a very important one, we believe that we have created a world where any business idea can be automated within minutes. And what really embodies and differentiates Creatio from other vendors is our Creatio superpowers. And those superpowers are our BPM engine to change processes faster, our low-code platform to make everyone a developer, and our unified CRM that align sales, service, and marketing. Creatio's foundation is a powerful BPM engine that helps organizations automate both customer-facing and operational processes. We also have our full-fledged low-code platform, and that is the cutting-edge low-code platform that enables everyone to build and customize applications without any technical skills. Furthermore, we have our best-in-class and unified CRM that aligns sales, service, and marketing operations within the platform. And just to really highlight and focus on our product architecture, Creatio's Studio platform is the low-code offering that is the built-in foundation for this low-code CRM that incorporates sales, service, and marketing. And this is really what drives and differentiates our platform, again, giving users that ability to create and customize applications for process management and CRM. Our low-code studio offering enables our users to build full-fledged applications. And additionally, we have our Creatio marketplace. And this is an online forum for a large community of partners to share over 600 add-ons, connectors, and templates for Creatio customers for specific use cases and business needs and specific industry vertical business needs. Now, as we are running out of time, we'll answer all of your questions in a follow-up email. So we please invite you to post those questions and we will get back to you. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Nareesh, for hosting this great webinar alongside the Creatio team. We had a pleasure having you.